Hey, time for another out-of-this-world story from our channel. What happens in a luxury desert resort during your anniversary trip doesn't stay anywhere. It follows you 3,000 mi back home with a vengeance, a canceled Amex, and a shattered sense of trust. Today on our space, the anniversary gift of choice was a happy ending courtesy of the Hotel Msauer. She cheated with the Hotel Msauer during our anniversary trip. I left her $3,000 MI from home with canceled credit cards. I had to get myself together to write this considering it just happened a few days ago. But I really need to talk to someone about it. Know someone better than a bunch of internet strangers. I guess I, 36 male, have been married to my wife Kim, 33, female, for just about 2 years now. So we're still basically newlyweds. At least I used to joke and say that. We've been together for nearly 6 years from the time that we started dating. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue, clicked immediately, and became one of those couples everyone assumes are inseparable. My friends shipped us so hard. Every time and everywhere they could find an excuse to push us into each other's orbit, they took it. We didn't need the help. To be honest, we were bound to end up married considering how close to each other we were. Up until what I'm writing about, I really thought that we had a good marriage. Every couple has issues, but it felt like we were in the honeymoon phase for so long. Or maybe I was just the one who was so much more in love with her than she was with me. But anyway, it shouldn't be a surprise that I wanted our second anniversary to be something memorable. We'd always talked about heading out west one day. We lived essentially our entire lives on the East Coast, especially to one of those luxury desert spa resorts. Kim loves spas, yoga retreats, that whole scene. I was more into nature and quiet hikes, the kind of peace you only find where the landscape stretches on and on. This trip felt like the perfect middle ground. I went all out and booked us into a 5-star resort. It was an all-inclusive package with a private hot tub in the deck, full spa access, daily massages, gourmet meals, the works. Just thinking about it, I really wanted it to be such a magnificent time for us both. Even worse is that it wasn't cheap, but I didn't care. She meant everything to me, and I wanted her to feel that. We flew out on a Tuesday. Our anniversary was on Thursday, so we had a few days to relax before any dinner reservations or fancy plans. The first day was acceptable. Travel was smooth. The room was incredible, and you could tell she was excited, but there were moments she seemed a little off. Not upset, not distant, just distracted. I chalked it up to jet lag or maybe work stress. She hadn't shaken off yet. Figured she'd slide into vacation mode soon enough. Wednesday evening, she said she'd booked a solo massage appointment to unwind more deeply. She asked if I'd mind staying in the suite alone while she went. I didn't think anything of it. It's a spa resort. That's what people do. Plus, since it noticed that she's been off, it felt like a good opportunity for her to get herself together again. I told her to enjoy herself. I stayed in, poured a drink, popped in my earbuds, and sat out watching the sunset while listening to classical music. Again, everything was still a perfect anniversary up until that point. She came back about an hour and a half later looking flushed, eyes watery, face pale. I remember joking something like, "That must have been some massage." Just trying to lighten the mood. I felt like the massage might have actually been the perfect place for her to let out whatever emotion was being held in. I tried not to make it embarrassing for her or anything, especially because I felt like she might have been crying. She gave me this weird smile, kind of vacant, and nodded. She didn't say anything else. I figured maybe she'd had some deep tissue work done, and it had hit a nerve or something. I didn't push it. Later that night, while we were lying in bed, she turned to me and said something that didn't register at first. Her voice was low, almost a whisper, but the words hit like a dang train. "Devin, something happened during my massage today." I remember just staring at the ceiling. I remember my heart dropping as I heard it because it couldn't have been anything good. I thought maybe the Memsure was rude or maybe he crossed a line somehow. I was really hoping that it wasn't some kind of sexual assault, an awkward comment at the very most. But no, I'll never forget the way she said it. Word for word. He touched me. I didn't stop him. And I let him finish me. I felt like I had been shot. My brain was scrambled trying to make sense of what I just heard. I had literally been having the perfect anniversary. It was off to such a good start. For a split second, I even thought she might have been joking. If not for the fact that I knew we were there for our anniversary, I might have tried to gaslight myself into thinking it was April and she was trying to pull a prank. But she had never been that kind of woman. I was still in denial. Maybe something darker happened. Maybe she really had been assaulted and didn't know how to say it. But I didn't need to make excuses for her since she made it clear. Crystal clear. He didn't force anything. She didn't say no. She let it happen. He was clearly inappropriate because he initiated things in a professional role where he never should have. But she went with it. According to her, she was already turned. On for the massage, and it just happened. She got carried away. That pissed me off. At no point did she remember that we were there for our anniversary. We had never had a bad life in the bedroom. Not only did it happen, but at no point did she stop it. So she let this guy touch her until she climaxed. This happened with a man whose only job was to provide a professional service with money that I had worked hard for. Was I wrong to let her go and get a massage on her own, or was that such a big mistake? I didn't say much. Not then. I couldn't. And of course, because women will be women, she started sobbing. A full-blown dramatic meltdown, despite being the one who ruined everything. She was grabbing my hands, begging me not to leave her, crying, snot pouring down. She was saying it was a stupid mistake and that she'd never do anything like it again. That she was thinking about me the whole time and didn't mean for it to happen. Did she genuinely think that that line somehow made it better? It drove me nuts. She thought she deserved sympathy. The weird thing is I kept thinking that maybe I might have forgiven her if it had happened on a regular day maybe. But the fact that it happened on her anniversary showed me that I meant nothing in the grand scheme of things. She went to sleep on the couch in the suite, and I couldn't sleep for the entire night because of everything. The following day, I went for a walk. I kept thinking that it couldn't be real. All of the stories that I read typically don't have the cheating partners confessing without the slightest suspicion. Part of me wished that she hadn't said anything because then I'd still be on my anniversary getaway happily. But no, it had happened. She did it, and I didn't know how to react. And I know you guys reading this are probably wondering why I didn't immediately pick up and leave, call her out in public, or raise hell at the hotel. The truth is, betrayal like that doesn't make you angry right away, especially when it seems like there's some degree of remorse. She confessed to it, and that part still really throws me off. And what makes this worse, what adds salt to the wound, is that this isn't even the first time she'd emotionally betrayed me. The only thing was back then, I didn't count it as betrayal. Shortly after we were married, Kim started texting her old boss, Marco, a man she once referred to as a mistake from her 20s. They'd had a brief fling before he moved overseas, and I had assumed, stupidly, that they had lost touch for good. Turns out the point at which she decided to start reaching out to him again was after we got married. Should have seen it for what it was back then. But as an actual newlywed, it was easy for me to let it slide. The worst part was that back then, I didn't even find out through her. I'd planned to surprise her one day when she was attending a conference in Thessaly. I thought it'd be sweet to swing by and pick her up and take her out for dinner. We shared locations with each other for safety reasons, and I'd expected I'd find her at the venue. Instead, I saw her on the street walking hand in hand with Marco, smiling exactly like I'd expect from previous young lovers. When I walked up to them, I didn't cause a scene. I just confronted her. She acted like it was no big deal and said they'd just been talking. Supposedly, he came to see her because it had been a while. She told me they'd kept in touch and it was nothing. They had just been sending messages and some pictures. I asked what kind of pictures, but she brushed it off. I told her to cut contact with him, point blank and in front of him. End it. No more messages, no more contact ever again. And she agreed. At least that's what I thought. That was the first and only time in our 6 years together that something like that had come up. And back then, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. She'd never given me another reason to question her. But still, the image of them laughing together like that never really left me. And with what she did to me now, it all just came right back. But this time, I knew it wasn't a lapse. It was a part of her. It had to be. And there was no way she'd convince me otherwise. After my walk that morning, I came back to the suite and told her we'd go through the motions for the rest of the trip. But things had changed. I didn't yell. I didn't lose my temper. I just told her calmly and cold that I would handle things when we got back home. She seemed relieved, probably thinking she had dodged a bullet. I asked her to tell me everything, how it started and what exactly happened with the masher, just so I could understand the complete picture of what she'd done, she confessed. Cried through most of it, and while she talked, I recorded everything. I didn't tell her. I just needed backup, something solid in case she tried to rewrite the story later on or claimed she'd only been joking. Even worse, I didn't want to give her the power to somehow make me the bad guy. I said nothing after everything and just repeated that she shouldn't worry about it for the rest of the trip. But I knew that I wasn't going to wait until we got home. The next day was our actual anniversary. She wanted to go to a wine tasting event, and I played along, pretending like I was okay. We smiled for pictures. We laughed for the guide. I kissed her on the cheek. She probably thought the worst was over. She had no idea that while she was in the bathroom, I was moving up my return flight, booked it for the next morning as early as possible. I spent the whole night awake. I packed everything quietly in the dark while she slept. Before I left, I placed a note on the dresser. Happy anniversary. The rest of your stay is covered. Figure your way home, but it won't be with the my money. We're done. Then I shut off my phone, got in the shuttle to the airport, and flew back home. I left her there about 3,000. Me away with nothing but her suitcase. She started to call me incessantly when I finally turned my phone back on a few hours later. I had hundreds of texts and enough voicemails that I couldn't take any more. I didn't listen to all of them. One was just her screaming, and the other was her sobbing. I couldn't even stomach hearing the complete recordings. The Mer was generous enough so she could ask him to help her find her way back. I landed literally 2 days ago, and the hotel stay extends for another 2. I called the bank and froze all her joint credit cards. She still had her personal checking account, but that was mostly for coffee runs and makeup orders. She never kept much in there, maybe 200 tops. Meanwhile, my accounts covered rent, bills, groceries, and everything. She doesn't work full-time, so there wasn't much for her. I know she'll ultimately be able to ask friends and family. Now I'm back here alone in our apartment, and she's still out there. I don't know if she's found a way to get back home yet. She hasn't shown up, though, so I doubt she's in the state yet. I haven't heard anything from her side of the family either, and part of me wonders if I should call someone or maybe the resort to make sure she's okay. Part of me feels like I might have gone too far. At the same time, she said she'd never do something like this to me again. But she did. And now I don't even know how to move forward from this. I don't know what to feel or what to do. What's worse is that I don't feel I can trust her. Trust is crucial to me. And until now, I felt like I could trust anything she said. After the first incident, at least, I felt confident that it wouldn't happen again. But now I know that's not true, and she isn't willing to change. That's such a gut punch, especially after you put time, money, and effort into planning a trip for your anniversary. You were thinking about reconnecting and celebrating a relationship. Meanwhile, she was off making choices that completely disrespected that. She showed you where her priorities are, and it's not in their relationship the way you hoped. Update. I came here to deliver the final update to my mess of a marriage, but I was surprised by probably hundreds of messages talking about how I left her step. All over me in the relationship. Obviously, the reason for that is because of the thing with her boss, Marco, if you can remember from the last post. It's weird because I agree that I messed up on that account, but I also think the onslaught was a bit unfair. It's not like I had evidence to confirm she was cheating with her boss, so cut me some slack here. Anyway, regarding leaving her all alone, on the West Coast during our anniversary, it took her 4 days to make it back. That was 2 days longer than the hotel stay lasted. It should reiterate that I helped her in no way. She just walked into our apartment with her suitcase looking like an absolute mess. She froze for a second when she saw me, but she didn't say anything to me for the first several hours. Later on, when she did talk, she didn't even act mad. She only explained that she had to call her sister for some extra cash as her last bit of cash. Couldn't get her a cab into the city after getting someone to help her at their sort, and then came the ridiculous part. She said she'd been thinking and she accepted how she messed things up at such an important time in our marriage. She gave me the option to even test scales and said that I could have a hall pass. Those were her words. I could pick any one I wanted and she'd help me set it up as long as I promised to forgive her and we could work on our marriage after. I thought it was a trap. It sounded like one of those manipulative guilt tricks, but she was dead serious. She said she'd help me pick someone, even from our mutual friends. I wasn't going to take the fix that easy, though. I told her the only way that would work was for her, to do the hard part and be my wingwoman, and then after it was done, we could heal. I made sure that she was that involved in the process because the M-sure who touched her had been paid for by my money. I ended up being an accessory to her cheating on me, and I wanted her to feel it in a similar fashion. Inside me, though, I knew she'd never take the deal. And that's sort of what I wanted, because what was left for us, a corpse of a marriage. But I played along and Weboth agreed to it. I told her I'd need help picking someone. I said I'd want it to be someone we both knew and someone attractive. She even started suggesting names. I couldn't believe it. She knew how badly she had messed up, and she wastrying to do everything she could to wipe away her error. She helped me text them. She helped me write some of the messages. She helped me flirt. She even told me what pictures to send. We got someone named Rachel. She was a mutual friend from Kim's yoga class. And when I contacted Rachel, I told her I was a married man separated from his wife. After a lot of conversation, we planned a dinner. And starting from there, Rachel and I went on several dates. One each of these instances, I made sure to tell her almost every detail of those dates. I knew what I was doing. She didn't know what I was doing, though. While she was planning everything on my behalf, I was planning my escape. I had been speaking to a divorce attorney since before she returned from their sort. We drafted the paperwork within 48 hours. I had everything I needed. So, on the day I was supposed to meet Rachel to seal things, I returned home early. She was in the living room smiling like things were all right. I handed her an envelope with divorce papers. Her signature was the only thing missing. I just told her that since she wanted me to heal, I didn't do that without her. She completely lost it, which wasn't a surprise. It started with a whole lot of yelling about how I just made her degrade herself for no reason. When I didn't say anything to all of that, then came the tears and finally the begging. She tried to grab my leg as I walked away. I left the house, came back, told her I had used my hall pass, and then, when I returned, I slept in the guest bedroom. Wipe away her error. She helped me text them. She helped me write some of the messages. She helped me flirt. She even told me what pictures to send. We got someone named Rachel. She was a mutual friend from Kim's yoga class. And when I contacted Rachel, I told her I was a married man separated from his wife. After a lot of conversation, we planned a dinner. And starting from there, Rachel and I went on several dates. One each of these instances, I made sure to tell her almost every detail of those dates. I knew what I was doing. She didn't know what I was doing, though. While she was planning everything on my behalf, I was planning my escape. I had been speaking to a divorce attorney since before she returned from their sort. We drafted the paperwork within 48 hours. I had everything I needed. So, on the day I was supposed to meet Rachel to seal things, I returned home early. She was in the living room smiling like things were all right. I handed her an envelope with divorce papers. Her signature was the only thing missing. I just told her that since she wanted me to heal, I didn't do that without her. She completely lost it, which wasn't a surprise. It started with a whole lot of yelling about how I just made her degrade herself for no reason. When I didn't say anything to all of that, then came the tears and finally the begging. She tried to grab my leg as I walked away. I left the house, came back, told her I had used my hall pass, and then when I returned, I slept in the guest bedroom. Since then, I've been sleeping in the guest room. The legal proceedings took about 2 months. It was fast, but brutal. She walked away with her personal car, some furniture, and some costly kitchen appliances. She got alimony, too, which wasn't surprising considering the disparity in her earnings, but that didn't wreck me. The house stayed with me, and that was a big win. As much as I hated her, the law couldn't give me that much leverage, especially since my revenge was pretty well documented and deemed to be cruel. I thought that would be the end of it, but nope. She kept calling, messaging, showing up at my gym and the house sometimes, and sending flowers. She was trying to act like we could still salvage something from it. She even sent me a playlist called 4-Hour Healing. It was so much effort, and I wish she had simply put that effort in when a masseur was trying to touch her between the legs. Oh, and I never actually slept with Rachel. I had zero interest in her. She was part of the plan, and she played the role. Yeah, I used an innocent woman in my ploy, but I don't think she was expecting anything ultra-serious with me. Kim will never know that I didn't sleep with her, though. When her clinus didn't stop, he told her I'd start sharing things publicly if she didn't back off. Their courtings and all the texts I had. I told her I'd let her friends and family hear the raw truth, but she tried to call my bluff, so I sent it to her parents first, then her sister. I mailed them the audio of Kim admitting what she did at the spa. Her mom called me and apologized on her behalf. Her sister blocked me. Kim emailed me telling me I was ruining her life. He told her she had one more shot to back off or I'd make it even more public than just her family. And that's when she stopped. I haven't heard from her since, and I'm glad. Man, the hall pass offer. Wild. I don't even know what emotion I'd land on if someone said that to me. Shock, insult, amusement, maybe all three. The fact that she kept chasing you after all that, showing up, sending flowers, making playlists, like she suddenly had an emotional awakening, it's just so backwards. That effort should have been there before everything fell apart, not after she realized the consequences were real. Do you think someone can cheat just once and still be capable of being a loyal partner after that? Let us know below. And thank you for joining us today on our space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.